Yar, be ye ready to do a podcast?
Oh, that I be.
Yeah. I'm glad that, despite yesterday being Talk Like a Pirate Day, we're still managing to squeeze in some pirate talk.
Oh, I know. It's by when we were recording, it's a little late, but we just about got some Talk Like a Pirate and done.
It's only a day late.
Yeah.
And anyway, it would have been rude. Probably, people might have said something if we were doing Talk Like a Pirate, Statey Fumes. Yar, the Queen's dead. Ha ha
Yar,
ha.
yar, everyone's standing in a big line, yardy har.
Yar.
Or you don't think that's respectful?
I'm plundering the queue. Yar.
Yar.
Buckling my squash and so forth.
Well, look, I didn't see no official cancellation of Talk Like a Pirate Day, did I?
Maybe we make it Talk Like a Pirate Week. Har har. Yar. Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Magnet-Dale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnet-Dale, and welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers. It's a podcast where two queer trans ladies do it. You're doing symbols.
Us?
Oh, it's us. I thought you were trying to signal something to me.
No, it's us.
Without
I do
saying
this
it to the
every week.
microphone.
I do this every week.
I don't notice it every week. It's a podcast where two queer trans women have a bit of a giggle and a catch up and do some silliness and talk about the stuff we have consumed in the week media-wise. This tells you how on autopilot I usually am when I do the thing that's the intro words. I'm not looking at things during that. I'm saying the words.
Indeed.
So what have you been playing this week?
Well, can I offer you firstly a toast?
Oh, let me get my drink.
Clink.
Clink. Well,
Drinking this root beer has made me think.
Beer. Has this made you think of? Well, I was going to say the first three games we're going to talk about this week.
Okay, well, shall we start? Shall we start with something a bit secretive?
Oh, secretive, I see. Yeah, so we played through 3 different Monkey Island games, or you've completed 3 Monkey Islands.
I've completed 3 Monkey Islands.
I've completed 2 and started on a 3rd.
Yes.
So we'll start with, we played the, what's the fancy...
Secret of Monkey Island.
Yeah, what's the fancy...
Special edition?
Special edition, yeah. Played the special edition of The Secret of Monkey Island, which is the first one.
Yes.
We played it on, as I'm guessing we did it on regular puzzle difficulty.
As far as I know, there's no way of changing that version.
Yeah. So, I've played bits of Monkey Island before, enough to know the general gist of it. But it was a long time ago, and I don't know whether I ever finished them, and I certainly didn't get them to stick in my head properly.
Yes.
And certainly didn't get far enough with the second to reach a particular point of, oh, that's bullshit.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, so we played through. I did the playing, and then every now and then was like, Jane, what do?
And if you were about to leave an area, it was like, there's still something in there.
Yeah, you'd go sort of cough, there's more things.
There's more things. There's
Yeah.
2 more things to pick up in this
You kept
area.
me gently on guide rails without being too,
Yeah.
do this.
I can speedrun each of those games in about an hour.
Yeah.
And we spent, maybe 4 hours on each?
Yeah, 4 or 5
Thereabouts?
hours.
Yeah.
So we started with the original Secret of Monkey Island, which was originally, when was that released? That's
1990.
1990.
I
So
was
a
10.
good few
You
years
weren't.
ago now. I wasn't yet.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is a fun, silly little point-and-click adventure game about you being a pirate.
Wanting to be a pirate. Trainee pirate.
Yeah, wanting to be a pirate, going out looking for some treasure to prove yourself, having some interactions with a zombie ghost pirate.
A ghost pirate initially.
Yeah, a ghost pirate king type that also is looking for the same treasure as you, and off on adventures you go.
Well, I mean, initially he's just kidnapping the governor.
Yes.
He's fallen for the governor.
Yes.
And when she told him to drop dead, he literally did. And now he's a ghost. And she's still not interested.
Yeah. So that first game, I think it definitely has less of the 2 that we're going to talk about first. Definitely had less of the moon logic in it.
Yes.
Which, a term that if any of you listening don't know, is sometimes point-and-click adventure games will have use random object on random object in a way that doesn't make sense to progress.
Yes.
And, you know, the first one of these...
And it becomes less about solving puzzles, going, I understand this thing.
It's
within the
combine
context thing.
everything on everything until you accidentally progress.
Rub A on B until success happens.
Yes, and, like, the first Monkey Island doesn't have too much of that. It's a fairly, like, streamlined, focused story.
Yep.
I like the combat system and how that plays into sort of comedy.
Yes,
Even if the
'cause
RNG wasn't great.
So the first one features insult sword fighting,
Yes.
which neatly gets around, we're playing a point and click,
Yeah.
how do we get action into this?
Yes, so the idea is that, like, you will use, like, the setup to a thing against an enemy, and if they successfully use the comeback, you now know the comeback. So if someone uses that against you, you know the comeback, and whoever's winning this verbal sparring match wins the sword fight.
Yes.
But there was a lot of, okay, I just need the answer to this one joke.
Yeah, I've
And-
not had a
Yeah.
game play with that bad RNG in a long time. Like, from the beginning, we were getting pirates that were just going, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that.
Which meant I couldn't learn the things I needed to progress.
And then just giving us the same things we already had over and over again?
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, it wasn't like a deal breaker, it was just a slight, oh, this is a bit weird. That was the biggest complaint I had about that game, and when your game's doing something right when a little bit of bad RNG in the middle is the worst I can say about it.
Yeah, I mean, that is the one that usually breaks speedruns, that whole section.
I can
so-
imagine. Yeah, there's a few things where it's like, yeah, this was clearly made in the 90s, and I probably wouldn't have advised some of these decisions as being respectful if you were making it today, but...
Yes,
And we'll
yeah.
get to that with the second as well, but...
Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously, I think these days we wouldn't make a whole story about voodoo
yeah,
in that way.
Yeah. Yes, you've gone to the deserted island and the people there are cannibals, because of course they are, because they're...
But they're not really. It's just mainly for the tourists, for sure.
Yeah, it's... I generally found it really, like, pretty well paced for point and click. It was not too Moon Logic-y, it was pretty fun, pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Good, memorable cast of characters.
Oh, yes.
And then we went on to the second one. What's the second one?
LeChuck's Revenge, Monkey Island 2.
Yeah, Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge.
Special edition.
Yes. So, also, a really funny, amusing, sweet little point-and-click
Great
adventure.
music, I should add.
Yep, great soundtrack. Considerably more Logic.
Yes.
There's a lot more examples of Moon Logic.
Monkey Wrench nearly broke you, didn't
The
it?
monkey wrench nearly broke me. That's not a monkey wrench, it's a monkey. Fuck off.
You've been used as a wrench.
No. Don't hypnotize a monkey, now it's a wrench. No. I don't. No. Because, like, here's the thing. It's not even that frustrated me much. That might have been the thing that broke me.
Yeah.
But the thing that's far more frustrating is this does the thing that, like, a few point and clicks have done over the years that have really frustrated me, which is you try and do the thing, such as use item on item,
Yes.
and it does not succeed. So you go, cool, that's not the solution. I'll try different object on thing or thing on different object.
No,
No.
try that thing again.
Yeah, try that thing 4, 5, 6 times, and then, like, for seemingly no difference.
Yeah, like the spitting is a bit...
The spitting is a
the
particularly...
spitting at the end, not the spitting in the competition.
Yes, the spitting on the Rube Goldberg machine
Yes.
is a particularly nasty... Okay, I tried that and it failed, I tried that and it failed, I tried that and it failed. Oh, it worked that time, did it?
Yes.
Because, like, that one annoys me because the whole point is it's this really precise, well-positioned Rube Goldberg machine, which suggests it's set up perfectly so if you do the thing, it will work. Like...
Yes, but I can see the point I think they were trying to make is, yes, but Guybrush is only an amateur spitter.
Yes, but I feel like if you're going to have that go, you need to have a voice line that's something like...
I should try that
I
again.
should try that again. I think I nearly had it. Or, like, something to signal you are correct for persisting on this.
Yes.
And it reminded me for the first time in a while of
Broken Age.
Broken Age Act 2 and the snake, that explicitly the game tells you will not gain anything by staying here, and you have to ignore that several times over several minutes before something happens.
Yes.
As the game actively tells you nothing will happen and that
Yes.
you shouldn't persist.
Well, some of those people were the same people.
Well, that's the thing, and I think that's why I was reminded of it, because I'm like, that doesn't add anything to the game, it just makes it frustrating.
Yes.
Otherwise enjoyable game, that the moon logic mainly aside.
Yes. There are 2 references to male characters wearing slightly more femme clothing.
Yeah.
For example, Largo Legrand, the bully at the beginning, you need to get his bra to make a voodoo
Yeah.
doll. And later on, we have Guybrush in a dress.
And neither
And
of those
maybe that is supposed to be played for laughs, but
I mean-
none of the characters within the game actually make a joke of it. Like Guybrush, I mean, we didn't look. I don't think we spent did the whole look at the item thing once we had the bra. Like, we picked it up and went, okay, but no one said anything. Marley didn't say anything.
Yeah, maybe it's just the way we played it, but it seemed surprisingly not played for punchlines.
Yeah.
That being said, there was a costume shop that has some pretty
Yes.
fucking
there are
gross costumes in it.
Yes, there are some costumes in that costume shop that, of all the things that they changed for the special edition,
Yeah, I really
they
feel...
couldn't have fixed that.
Yeah.
Because there are 2 very stereotypical of certain parts of the world costumes.
Yeah, 2 pretty racist costumes. Otherwise, enjoyable game.
Yep.
Both of them, I think, have, for the most part, quibbles we've mentioned aside, have aged pretty well, and those special editions have done a good job of keeping them feeling well-paced and modern.
Yep.
The ending of Monkey Island 2 LeChuck's Revenge...
Yes.
I'm sure as fuck glad I didn't have to wait 30-odd years to find out what the fuck was up with that.
I mean, I don't know what year Curse of Monkey Island came out, but that did sort of provide a response to that.
Yes, but clearly not the response that now we're getting. Because
Kind of?
we've both started... You've completed on casual puzzle
Yes.
difficulty, and I have. I've only had time to put an hour into it because work stuff. We've started playing / played the new one.
Yes. Return to Monkey Island.
Yes. Do you want to talk about this? Because I've been talking a lot, because those were my first proper experience ones.
So, the opening of this game starts with 2 children, Guybrush and Chucky, literally appearing to be the 2 kids at the end of LeChuck's Revenge.
Yes.
And
that whole cliffhanger.
And sort of walking up to the 2 adults standing outside, but now they're not their parents. They're like, hey, we'll just pretend they're our parents.
Yes.
And then, it's a really nice way of doing the tutorial in that it's like, hey, we should do this, we should do that.
Yeah.
And you get, a couple of pop-ups on screen of, go here, do that.
Yeah.
Go here, do that. But then it is very, very simply hey, you need to get the key. Where is the key? There is the key on the wall. Cool, pick up the key, take it over here, use it in the lock, pick up the thing that you need to exchange for something else, to get the thing that you need to move on to the next part of the story.
Yeah.
To introduce the concept of the fact that this has a highlight button, like you had in Simon the Sorcerer, which was a button you just press and it just makes things flash or
yes.
things show up telling you this is a hotspot on the screen.
Yeah.
Rather than pixel hunting, just
Yeah.
find these little...
These are the clickables.
Yeah.
Which I think also helps with the fact that there is controller support, which you can use to just sort of analog stick flick between the clickables.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I haven't tried with the controller.
I played around a little with the controller support. I had controller, but also I was playing on the Steam Deck, so I had the touchpad set up as a mouse
Okay.
as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Left analog stick is walk around. You just walk around with the left analog stick.
Okay.
Right analog stick is used for flicking between interactable things. When you highlight a thing, there'll be a number of like your A, B, X, Y buttons that are different things you can do with it, as
verbs.
like different verbs. And then Y generally brings up your inventory so you can then use stuff on stuff.
Okay.
It works pretty well.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think it's like a big spoiler to say that like this is a Monkey Island game about wanting to relive your glory days. Certainly, I'm very early on. It seems like the initial setup, but also the story of the main adventure, seems to a certain degree about wanting to recapture your peak and trying to be what you were at your best.
I'm worried about spoiling
No.
something that isn't even in the game. Okay, so after,
Yeah.
you are told that there is a new section opened up in the scrapbook, which quickly mentioned the scrapbook actually.
Oh, yeah.
So when you first boot up the game, it's like there is a scrapbook if you need a recap on what has happened in previous games, and you click on this, and it's literally like a scrapbook with little cutouts and pictures and drawings.
And you click on things and it tells you about bits of the story.
All of the previous games, including Escape and Tales.
Yes.
And it's just really, really, really charming, and it just adds a whole extra section to that book after you've finished.
Yeah.
So it's a complete breakdown of everything you've done in return, and then there's one other thing that I don't want to really spoil, but it's like it's quite a nice little thing to have afterwards. But without spoiling too much of that or any of that, hopefully.
I mean,
Monkey Island 1 was a lot of that team's first game.
yes.
And Monkey 2 was a little bit of we've made something hugely successful, what do?
The difficult second album.
And then we're some of those people,
Yeah.
and we're kind of going back and doing this again.
Yeah.
So it is, as all of the previous games, about the people who are making it largely.
Yeah, I can definitely feel that. It feels very self-referential in a way that doesn't feel too tacky. Like, again, very early on, I've yet to make it onto the ship.
Oh right,
To
yeah.
give you a sense of,
that's a good fair chunk of the game to get onto the
played
ship.
Probably like an hour, maybe a little more,
Yeah.
but yeah, so far I've had a lot of interactions with characters who have been very aware of how much time has passed
Yes.
since the first Monkey Island, that original adventure, and are very aware of how their lives and the world around them have changed in the time since,
Yes.
and that doing the sort of adventure they did back then isn't the same kind of proposition as it is today.
No.
And it feels very fitting it feels like a very fitting approach for going back to a thing that trying to dig so far back into your history. This feels like a good way to do it.
Yeah, I absolutely think so, and also there's a thing that I've been seeing in a lot of sort of these callback type nostalgia fests that we've been getting a lot of. Like, obviously the fans absolutely wanted it, but there seems to be this whole thing with a lot of these of we're basically gonna set up a whole lot of there's younger people now.
Yes.
And they're not necessarily the antagonists, but there's a lot of them around, and they have very different ideas about how things should be done.
Yes.
And I think Ghostbusters Afterlife had a little bit of that.
Yeah.
While also being like, hey, the past people, that's cool.
I'm very early on, but it's already making me think about the fact that 2022 has been very much a year for bits of media I have enjoyed that have been about creators coming back to creating after several years and wrestling with the legacy of what they made before and how they make something new in a world that has changed in the time since they last made it.
NCR.
Like, I'm thinking State of Decay by My Chemical Romance, but I'm also thinking stuff
Foundations
like
of Decay.
yes, sorry, did I say
State of Decay.
I was trying to think of I was jumping to the next thing I was going to talk about. My brain crossed wires. Foundations of Decay by My Chemical Romance, but also the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Yeah.
In many ways, felt like this. These sort of, how do I go back to the thing now that time has passed and I might not be the same person who created it originally?
Yeah. I feel like we've had some of this with a lot of the Marvel series.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the, hey, we're trying to introduce the new Avengers.
Yes.
So there is a lot of the old Avengers are kind of retiring, and we're introducing a lot of young characters.
Yeah.
And it feels like there is a purpose to that. And there, I was getting kind of vibes of that again, not really spoiling stuff, from the very first minute you arrive in town and you walk into the Scum Bar. So anyone who's played a Monkey Island will know how early that is.
Yes.
You literally walk off the top of the lookout and walk into the tavern.
Yeah.
Or the bar. And there are new pirate leaders.
Yeah.
And one thing that was immediately a thought, like, especially, okay, it was a thing that I thought now that I am more of an adult playing through these games, and in a, like, play through them in a through your eyes kind of way.
Yeah.
Because you were doing all the conversations, having all the going through all the conversation trees, stuff that I've not really looked at in years. I say I play these games every year, but I pick them up, speedrun them in an hour, and put them down again. And this is like, yep, I listened to the music, I saw the things I liked. The stuff I had completely forgotten that I only picked up again watching with you, and stuff that I'm obviously experiencing for the first time looking at this game. And watching it through your eyes, and obviously also having a back seat with that, was... This is supposed to be the Caribbean, and it's white as fuck.
Oh, indeed it is.
And there are...
Indeed it is.
There are very few women characters for a start.
Yeah.
And, like, immediately you walk into Scumbar in Return to Monkey Island, and you've got 2 women and a black guy are the new pirate leaders.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's the world. It's letting its world change and modernize.
Yes, good.
And not just trying to be exactly as you remember the world.
Yeah, and also, like, I think that speaks somewhat to, hey, we were these people, but we're coming back now, kind of thing, and realising, hey, it used to be, almost certainly was, an office full of white guys.
Oh,
at Skywalker Ranch,
guarantee
making the early Lucasfilm games, and the LucasArts games, and like, I hope more of that. That, like, the rest of the team is more diverse now. But it was nice to sort of go, like, have you met the locksmith yet?
Oh yes,
I think she's amazing.
Oh, I am so into this character already.
Like, you are such a badass. I love you.
And I like that there's also a lot more thought put into thoughtful accessibility and support features.
Oh,
with
yeah,
this.
because I was, like, last night, because I managed to get, because we had a bank holiday yesterday, I managed to edit accessibility before my usual very late at night time.
Yeah.
Which meant I could just dive onto Monkey Island, and, like, the first few things was like, hey, no, I've just seen a thing where you can do text and speech. I mean, that's quite an old feature, like, the fact that you can highlight stuff. Again, an old feature from other point-and-click games, but I don't think ever ended up in Monkey Island and really appreciated.
The big ones that really stood out to me as, like, things that really need to be more mainstay and do pop up in some point-and-clicks or text adventures, and I'm glad they were here, is the ability to scroll back and read backwards through text.
Oh god, yes.
If you zoned out and missed something.
Which is something, like, the number of times I've had to do the "can you repeat that line" during insult sword fighting in original Monkey Island, because I just zoned out or something.
Yeah, and the other one is I really like the in-world inclusion of the hint book.
I really enjoyed that. Speaker tags is available in the subtitle section.
Yeah.
Also, like, not audio description, non-dialogue
Non-dialogue subtitles or captions, yeah.
Yes, I was very happy to see those.
The thing I like about the hint book is, like, it's not... You're not preached to not overuse it, but, like, there is in character... It may diminish your experience if you overuse it, but it's entirely on your shoulders.
Yeah.
And, like, the way it's implemented is very much... We will give you a very broad hint.
Mm-hmm.
You can ask for more detail on that hint, and you can ask for more detail again. So if
Sometimes you can ask for even more on that.
So if you've got a thing you're stuck on, a specific thing, you can go, okay, how specific do I need you to be before I twig and work out, like, get an idea of what to do? And I appreciate that.
I have really appreciated that hint system. I maybe used it 5 or 6 times throughout the game. I tried to be as sparing as possible.
I used it a little at the start, mainly because I was curious. Like, I didn't need the help. I was just like, I want to know how it works.
How did this do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did end up using it a couple of times. I very much appreciated that. Rather than, getting really frustrated about it.
Yep.
And, like, it's not like I can trust that I have the time now to do what I did as a kid and, make notes about stuff and wander around and click on everything for hours and hours and hours and rubber X on Y and hope that I'd done everything correctly and...
Yep.
Yep. Or even, as I did back in the time, a friend who had completed it some years prior, do you remember enough to tell me what do?
I mean, that is basically how we played the first 2 this weekend.
Yeah.
Person who knows what do?
I was the friend who was able to tell you what do.
The art style, I wasn't sure about when I saw trailers, the art style for this.
I wasn't in love with it, but I was like, you know what? I'm not opposed to it.
I didn't actively dislike it, I was just like, I wasn't certain about it. And in practice, I actually really enjoy it.
I really adore it. I think it's so sweet. I like the textured brushes they've obviously used on a lot of these things.
It has a lot of charm in practice, and I think as soon as I had my hands on it, I felt a lot more positive about it.
I love it. I'm very happy with it. I really enjoyed the whole adventure in that art style.
Yeah.
I like the joke about it really early on.
Oh, yes.
When you go and see Otis.
Yes. Oh, you've had a new art style. Ooh,
hey, you're looking good, new art style.
Thank you for
noticed.
noticing.
Yeah, that's one of my very favourite early jokes. Also it's a bit weird going around Melee Island at the beginning and going, oh, things have changed and not all for the better.
Yeah.
Like, some of it's like the first, as soon as you get out of the prelude and it does the whole Secret of Monkey Island intro of, like, Deep in the Heart of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And then goes into the theme tune. And it's just like, yes, we're back, baby! And that is a beautiful nostalgia here. And then, like, going into the town and just going, yay, this is here, and well, that's not so good. Or things are a bit bad in this way and a bit bad in that way. And, like, going to stands. I guess you've been to stands.
Yep.
It's like, oh my.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we knew that he'd had several other jobs since Stan's previously owned vessels. Yes. But, like, oh my. But yes, like, I played all the way through to the end, had a little cry at the end, because I thought it was exactly what it needed to be and very beautiful at the end.
Aww.
And immediately was like, I'm diving in to play the harder version.
I'm excited to see that it has what sounds like a director's commentary-ish. Writers?
Not a director's commentary, no.
Mm-hmm.
The writer's cut is, basically, we have cut none of the extraneous text out of this.
Okay.
This is almost like an uncut version. It's not as succinct. It's some of the lines are a bit longer than they need to be.
Yeah.
Maybe there's slightly more jokes in it. I'm not entirely sure. Like, I've only played like an hour and a half of my second run.
The version before the copy editor made them trim it down.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I haven't fully been aware of anything that's changed specifically.
Yeah.
But like when you click on it, it's like there's just extra text.
That's interesting.
It's all voiced, so I've enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes some really interesting places. There is a reference to I'm not going to spoil it. There are some beautiful references in the last hour of this game.
Yay.
That I will not spoil, but if you remember playing Amiga and DOS versions of The Secret of Monkey Island, you will probably get a big smile out of at least one of the things.
Oh, yay.
I'm not going to spoil it, but yeah, there's some really lovely stuff in there, and oh my goodness, the hardcore mode.
Right.
Obviously, I've got through the game, and it's still fresh enough in my memory that hasn't been a problem. But it might be the autism. Might be the autism that, a couple of times I've gone, but that's not supposed to happen. No, the simple answer to this puzzle, that was the answer to this puzzle, that just,
That might be the autism.
Now it has a little bit of the bullshit to it. Yeah, there's a puzzle that I played through in the casual mode, where you have to put a thing in another thing, and you are rewarded with the item you need to solve a different puzzle.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool! And I was like, I know how to do this bit, got to this bit, put the thing in the thing. As soon as I touched it, it exploded. And I was like, well, that's new.
Well, I like that level of replayability. That's neat.
Sometimes that I can, see a thing in a room and go, I already understand or think I know what the solution to this is going to be, because I played through on casual and I know what I need to be able to do. Maybe that is a bit of a spoiler. That I know that I need to be able to do this thing in this area. And, I can see why it doesn't work. Okay. I can already see the solution to that. Cool, sorted, moved on, done. But this one thing with this just exploding item, I was just like, okay, I don't know what to do. I did eventually use the hint book on it, and was immediately like, that's bullshit.
Was that some moon logic bullshit?
Not really.
Was it Monkey Wrench?
It wasn't Monkey Wrench at all. At all. It was you have to fix this thing. Oh, I have some screws.
Oh, a thing exploded and screws will fix it.
Screws will fix it. I don't need any tools, apparently, or glue, or a manual, or tool, or tools, or anything. I just need to use the screws I got about 10 minutes ago. Spoilers for a puzzle about an hour and a half into the game, I guess. Yeah, I can see that I am probably going to go a few times just, bullshit.
I'm excited to have more time to play it, and at the very worst, I might take the Steam Deck on the train that we've got to take at the weekend and finish playing through it on the train.
Yay.
And then I can always nudge over and be like, "Hey, how do?"
Are you playing casual?
I'm playing casual first,
Okay, cool.
which I suspect will be fine, but...
Yeah, there are a few times in casual where, if anything, I think not playing the hardcore version, tipped me up a little bit. Because I was focusing on things and...
You were expecting it to be more complicated than it was?
Yes.
Yeah.
It looked like there was a bigger puzzle there, and I suspect that I will probably find when I get to those areas in hardcore that there will be a puzzle there. There is only one thing I think that is openly discussed as not being in the casual mode. You get to a point probably about 2/3 of the way through the game, and this game is longer than I thought. It's 5 chapters instead of the usual 4.
Okay.
Because I got to chapter 4, I was like, oh gosh, I'm really racing through this, and you think I'm nearly finished. And then it's like, nope, you're not nearly finished, there's a whole other chapter. I was like, oh, and it's quite a long one. Oh!
Yay!
Yay! So many extra puzzles. But yeah, there's a thing where you are introduced to this concept, and one of the first things a character will say to you is like, hey, you're playing casual mode.
Yeah.
This has absolutely no reward at the end of it. But you are perfectly welcome to do it if you want to just experience that bit of content. And I thought that was really nice.
Yeah.
I didn't get to the end of it in casual, because I guess there was no roadblock that would have
activated.
I think I can guess what that roadblock might have ended up being. But yeah, it was a like a fun little bit of build this over the course of talking to several different characters
Yeah.
type puzzle thing. But without being insult sword fighting or
Yeah.
rhyming sword fighting from Curse on Monkey Island.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I think that's everything I'd say. I love the music. I love the reimagined versions of the music. I love the art style. I've
Yeah.
enjoyed the puzzles. I have enjoyed a more diverse cast. I kind of want another Monkey Island game after
Yay!
this. I don't know if they would though. But I don't know if there needs to be.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Shall we rattle through a couple of other things
Tell
we've
us
played?
some things you've played.
Well, I mean, there's one other one we did together, which is we finished playing through The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
We did.
That game is really good.
It is really good.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
Very much enjoyed,
Once again, finished it in 2 sittings.
3 sittings.
Was it 3 sittings?
Yeah, we did a bit. Last weekend it was Saturday and Sunday, and then we finished it off this weekend.
Oh, yes.
We only had like a couple of dungeons left
Yeah.
to do. The final fight is satisfyingly challenging.
Yeah.
I like the narrative payoff. It's just a very satisfying Zelda to play, and
The dungeons are really nicely designed.
yeah, they're some of my favorite Zelda dungeons. I don't mind its length. It's nice to have a Zelda you can go back and probably, if we'd tried, we could have done in a weekend.
Yeah,
And that's
I mean, you can
nice
with a
to
lot
have.
of the early ones.
Yeah,
If you're willing to put the time in
yeah,
and you know what you're doing.
I like sometimes just being able to go, sit down, feel like I've played a Zelda, and have that not be a huge time investment.
Yeah.
I finished playing something this week as well.
You did.
I finished playing through Wayward Strand.
Yay, that delightful game.
Yeah, we were talking about this last week. It's
Yeah.
that game about having conversations with old people on a sort of hospital airship. So our suspicion was correct that it is 3 days.
Yes.
It's 3 days and it's done.
Mhm.
I definitely that game is really good.
Yes.
I left the end of day 3 simultaneously very I wish I had more time with these characters, and also very it feels fitting that I've had this very fleeting chance to get to know them and had to leave so suddenly.
You're just a young person.
Yeah, life
leaping into these older people's worlds.
Yeah. I finished this and really wanted to replay it.
Yes. You said you wanted to like follow different people. And...
Yeah, there are revelations on day 3 that took characters I'd been minimally interested in and gone, I really wish I'd spent more time with you before this point. I clearly missed some stuff going on.
I mean, that sounds like the experience of having elderly relatives full stop.
Yeah.
Like, shit, I wish I'd spent more time with you.
And again, that's the thing that like I think makes it ending so abruptly after 3 days feel fitting, is you don't have all the time in the world. You
No.
have a limited amount of time, and you find out what you can, and you learn what you can, and you get to know people, and then that time is done and life continues. There are some plot threads that I nearly succeeded on, and I really want to go back and try again. Tomi, the non-verbal character, absolutely so glad I invested a lot of time in getting to know her. Everything ended up being very sweet there, and I feel very satisfied with how that story ended. There is so many plot threads that, like, there are, like, 3 characters on the menu you can use to be, like, point me to where this character is. Did you never see this?
Nope.
There's, like, a little silhouette of a person in the bottom left as an option, like,
I have never noticed this.
Okay, if you click on it, it shows icons of all the people, and if you click on a person, it will point you with an arrow to where they are in the building if you're struggling to find
That's
them.
really cool.
That's really helpful, right? But the point being, end of the game, there was like 3 characters that were still silhouettes that I'd never met.
What?
Yeah. One of them, I assume, I completely missed the... I don't know whether it happening or not was dependent on my choices, but the big VIP visitor on the third day
yes.
in my playthrough never came.
Oh.
And I don't know whether some of my choices led to that happening.
Oh.
I don't know whether they could have visited and I just never saw them, because I was really trying to lean in on spend the time with the visitors. I wasn't like hanging around the nurse's station listening the residents. I wasn't hanging around the nurse's station like listening for the gossip.
Yes.
But like, yeah, I clearly didn't meet like 3 people,
Wow.
and that's intriguing.
That is intriguing. I want to get back to that because I really enjoyed what I played. The main problem has been, as I've sort of briefly alluded to the last couple of episodes, I really injured myself
Yes.
quite badly.
Yes.
And have been struggling with very high levels of pain, which has meant my already crap attention span has been absolutely shit until about maybe Sunday.
Yeah,
Like, I was just-
Sunday seemed to be like you seemed alert for the first time in a
Yeah.
while.
I think it was the first time I'd slept properly. Because it was a case of I'd got through a night of not getting up to pee or something and like pulling everything again.
Yeah.
It seems like I pulled like a fairly major muscle in my side, which meant that for a while I couldn't stand up,
Yeah.
and for a long time moving or sleeping or being in any position that
Yeah.
wasn't standing upright. And that was the other thing, like just I must stand up. Meant that I was constantly exhausted
Yeah.
because that was the only way to be comfortable. But yes, I really want to get back to Wayward Strand but I have not had the focus for it.
Indeed, it is a game that requires you to have patience and focus, and
Yes.
those are not things that you've had. Like,
I've barely been awake.
I think you're right, Sunday, because we went through the Monkey Islands, and then you played through.
Oh yeah, I
The-
played Portal, didn't I?
Yeah, we did the Portal director's commentary for the first
We did.
Portal, which was a
Which I've never listened to before.
yeah, it's a really interesting way to experience that, isn't it?
It is a bit of a nightmare sometimes to get the director's
Yes.
commentary bit of that game.
The Portal 2 does a much better job, but the original Portal's director's commentary will frequently get spoken over by GLaDOS, and often the director's commentary nodes will be in places where GLaDOS is going to keep talking at you and will not stop long enough for you to listen to director's commentary.
I hadn't remembered how short Portal 1 was.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It's a few hours long, if that, once
It's
you
like-
know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I know people speedrun it at alarming speed, but, like, yeah, like, there wasn't really any points of getting stuck. There were a few points of, hang on, where is the one wall?
Yeah.
I know I'm in one of those areas with just the one wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was definitely the sign of like, oh, you didn't hand the controls off over to me at any point every
didn't.
couple of hours.
Yeah,
Look at that focus.
Well, that had been the thing, like, the previous weekend with Link Between Worlds. You'd be like, do you want to go for a bit? I'd be like, yeah, I'll have a go for a bit. And then, like, I'd start playing in maybe 15, 20 minutes. I'd be like, I can't focus on this, I'm really sorry.
It's okay, you don't have to apologise.
I feel like I've roped you into playing a game.
No,
and then
you've not.
just-
I'm enjoying
insisted
playing it.
on-
I'm just trying to not. I'm trying to do the thing where we take turns, and I'm not being rude. I have to make sure I offer you turns because otherwise, even if I know that they're not going to last very long, I don't want to be rude. I want to
Turning
take
this
turns.
into a Let's Play.
That's okay. We can
Too
do it.
uncomfortable. I'm turning this into a Let's Play.
That's okay. I'll always be a let's play for you. But yes, Wayward Strand, really lovely.
Delightful.
If you could probably finish a playthrough in like 4 to 5 hours pretty comfortably. And,
Should you?
I mean, I don't think there's any way to rush the amount of time this will take to finish because the in-game clock lasts as long as it does.
Okay, well, do you think that it has been of any benefit to pause between the days?
Well, see,
Take time to think about that, maybe?
when I say the amount of time, I'm not suggesting you should play it all in one
well,
sitting.
that's what I meant.
Well,
like,
okay.
should you?
To clarify what I was saying there, it's only 4 or 5 hours long. ... Which is really beneficial for the fact that it's a game that sort of invites you to replay it and go find more things. And I like that it's not too long,
Yeah.
so that it's not too daunting to replay
Yes.
through it. If you want to, I think there was some benefit to taking a bit of time between each of the days. Like each of the in-game days, an hour, maybe an hour and a half of real-world time to do. And I honestly feel like having a day's break between each of the in-game days helps settle that feeling that, like, you are coming back to it at a different time.
Yeah.
I think that pause and that separation between the days and doing it in maybe like 3 hour-ish, hour to an hour and a half chunks.
I got the vibe that might be the case.
Yeah.
That there might be a benefit to have the experience of, like your main character, you're stepping away from it at least until tomorrow.
Yeah.
After it having like one solid, and maybe, you know, the journey home of thinking about what your day's been like, the like overnight thinking about what's happened. She's a journalist, so I guess going over her notes somewhat.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Did we play anything else that we want to talk about this week?
Anything else? I think that was all. I think that was all of it. We didn't manage any board games this week.
No, but we did play a fair few things. So,
Yeah.
is that it?
Well then.
Time for this. Welcome back to the BBC. In a very rare, unexpected turn, we today have as our guest a trans person, unopposed, on the air. This was a terrible idea. Trans person.
Hi there.
Tell me literally anything that you want me to know as a trans person. Just anything. I don't know what I'm supposed to ask you.
Well, ultimately, we're just like any normal person. We just. we just want to be treated with respect. We just want to go about our daily lives.
Really? And you're just... Oh, goodness. What is this extremist rhetoric?
I mean, I just want to be able to go about my life and, get on a bus without people staring or shouting.
Oh, the transgender out in full once again. Really, this kind of extremist polarizing nonsense.
I mean, it's just, I want to do what everybody else does, I want to be able to quietly go about my life.
We brought you on the air to give you a platform and you use it to spill this vile hatred.
It's not necessarily about anyone else. I just want to be able to just be quietly going about my life like any other human being.
Disgusting, offensive. I can't believe that anyone let you on the air. We need to cut the thing.
Just a cup of tea. I just want a cup of...
And next on, a literal fascist. Welcome. Right, everyone, it's 11:59. It's almost Tuesday. We're almost done. Everything will be opening back up at once. I know that you've all, everyone in the UK, you've been waiting a very long time for this.
Pip pip.
Exactly. Are you ready? Are you raring, everyone?
Tally-ho!
I can't hear you.
Tally-ho!
Right, as soon as it hits midnight and it's Tuesday, the national period of mourning will be over and everything will be open. So you can get back to Centre Parks, you can go to Morrison's. What else do you do, British public?
Q,
you were allowed to queue before, but you can join other queues that are not the queue.
Will we ever see such a beautiful queue ever again, I wonder?
Oh, I suspect a queue the likes of it will never be seen again.
Oh, if only we could have another one of those queues. It was so good. Perhaps we could maybe invite people to queue up for a Gregory's or something. They maybe want to one of the sausage rolls.
Well, I mean, look, considering how many of you are itching to get back to everyday life, I'm sure any second now there will be huge queues for... Oh, and there we go, the doors are open. The UK is back.
So, what have you put in your eyes?
I've not put a huge amount in my eyes this week.
It's not been very heavy.
It's been a very played-heavy week.
Yes.
I did read through, so that is something I put in my eyes, the rulebook for Alice is Missing.
I watched some not Let's Plays, I watched a couple of video reviews.
Yeah.
And I watched a instructional video.
Yes, so this was the thing you got me for birthday.
Yeah, because you wanted this for a while.
Yeah, I've been very intrigued by it. It is a tabletop role-playing game that is about trying to solve the disappearance of a missing person called Alice. But the deal is that you do it all in text chat. You pick characters and you learn a bit about them, and then you set up a group text chat with everyone's names changed to their character names.
Uh-huh.
You can message individually between each other.
As a voice message?
Yep.
The last message that you sent to your...
Yeah, I was going to get to that in a second.
Oh.
But, yeah, so you can either chat as a group in the text chat, in character, or, privately with each other if you wish to. and every 10 minutes you turn over a card that will sort of add a bit to the mystery or a clue and sort of give you something new to talk about in character. And yes, as you said, one of the first things you do before you start this text chat is once you've done your character creation and you know who your character is and what their whole deal is, you go into another room separately away from everyone else and record the last voicemail you left on Alice's phone.
And try and get your secret in.
Yeah, try and squeeze in your character's secret in there so that if it hasn't come out by the end, aha, we understand what's going on. And then at the end, once the mystery is solved, everyone's voicemails get played and you have a little debrief. It seems like a really interesting rule set for a mystery-solving game that doesn't have a set answer. The answer will change each time you do it. That has a framework for... Yeah, it's about solving a mystery, but it's much more about just having conversations in character and building these people.
Trying to get a group together that will very much get into that.
Yes, that will get into, in-character texting. And I think that, in some ways that will be easier for some people than... voice-wise getting into character and role-playing, because there's that sort of fear of feeling silly doing voices and things like that you can get rid of when it's, people have time to think about how to say what they want to say when in text chat.
Yeah, but also I think and I suppose it is partly to do with the being able to think about what you want to say, just the idea that you have a delete button.
Yes.
So you can, backspace on, no, that's not quite the words I want to say. I want to put it this way.
And, the game's rules are very, from the front. There will be periods of, everyone chatting all at once when new clues get revealed. There'll be quiet moments. And, it's expected to play like a group chat where a couple of people might be chatting, you might be quiet for a moment, but then you start getting chatty and someone else goes quiet. And that's just the way it kind of works.
Yeah.
And no one worries about talking over each other because... you just throw it in the text.
Just read it back.
Yeah.
Also, it's 90 minutes. It has a YouTube video with music and
yes.
It will help prompt you about times and stuff.
Indeed. And the rule book has a bunch of really neat stuff in there about hey, this is a game with some heavy themes. Here is some good frameworks for consent around topics in narrative.
Yes.
And ways to, without anyone asking any questions, go, a thing has come up and I need that to be off topic. Can we delete that message and not include that further in the narrative?
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff around hey, this is a story about a missing girl. There are certain outcomes that could happen that might be difficult. Do you want to remove those from the pool of possibilities before we start? Lots of just good aftercare.
Yes.
And sort of stuff in there. The game actively encourages a period of, come down, aftercare,
yes.
Group...
When you're finished.
Discussion once you're finished, and to sort of come back down to a baseline. And, it seems really well thought through.
Yeah. It's a tiny little box. It's quite dense. Is it mostly full?
It's mostly full.
Good.
It is
not one of those ones that's just full of empty space.
No, so it is largely a stack of potential characters you could be playing with.
Yep.
A bunch of clues relating to people, locations, things like that. A bunch of clue cards that I've not looked through them because I don't want to be spoiled on what the possibilities are, but some of them will tell you to do things that physically in the room where you're playing, stuff like that.
And you can mess around with all the stuff and there is still a correct answer to the mystery.
Yeah. And it seems really neat. So I read through that and got very excited.
I'm excited to play it with you. I have learned some things about that game. Yeah. So I'm excited to see and hopefully get a chance to play that with you and some friendos. Because that's 3 to 8, I think.
I believe so. Yeah.
3 to 8 players. Plays in 2 hours, that's 90 minutes actual playtime, half an hour roughly.
Yeah, 30 to 45 minutes of setup and introduction, and then 90 minutes of play, which is a good focus length.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you putting your eyes this week?
Not a huge amount. Obviously, we've watched the latest She-Hulk, Rings of Power. I have been watching some of the in-deep geek breakdowns of the Rings of Power stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He does lots of videos about Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, and the wider Tolkien legendarium.
Mm-hmm.
Things that, like, I will never get around to reading some of the extended stuff, because it's quite heavy going, and it was never really written to be presented necessarily to the public.
Yeah.
Christopher Tolkien did a job putting them together into various volumes, but they are perhaps not written exactly as Tolkien would have intended to put a published work out.
Yeah.
So I appreciate somebody who will do like breakdowns of things. So I've watched all the sort of our understandings of Rings of Power, including people who have translated the Elvish.
Yep.
Which has led to some quite interesting things that obviously, if you don't speak Elvish, you wouldn't have necessarily picked up on what certain characters are saying if it's not subtitled, because it's not always subtitled. I watched one of his videos that was about what is Lord of the Rings, or the story of Lord of the Rings from the point of view of the Witch King. Mm-hmm. He has done this whole series of what is this from the point of view of somebody who wasn't the main focus of Frodo, Sam, the Hobbits, Aragorn. Like, what was this person doing generally throughout this time period? And it's been quite interesting. There's one for Saruman, obviously one for the Witch King. I think there's Gandalf. He's done lots of explanation stuff about various other characters as well. It's been really nice.
Yeah.
That's most of it. What about you? Have you watched anything else?
I think we watched this together. The first episode of Play It By Ear on Dropout.
Yeah.
The thing that started as a one-off Game Changers episode and is now its own show about making musicals via
that's
improv.
Dropout all over. We had an idea. We did one episode of it. Well, we're spinning it off.
Yeah. So Play It By Ear is here is a series of prompts. A bunch of improv people who are good at music make up songs for a musical and act them out in real time. The musicians playing the music have not heard the prompts. The people doing the singing and making the characters haven't heard the prompts. Make a musical. Mm-hmm. And the first episode of it is out, and it was about making a musical about Humpty Dumpty.
Yes.
That became a musical about overthrowing the class system.
Yes. The goose, the tyrannical queen.
Yes, the tyrannical queen Mother Goose. There was a musical number in which little Jack Horner had to use as many meanings of the word Jack as possible.
They sure did that.
They sure did that. By the end of it, it was quite a sweet little crescendo it came to by the end. It was funny.
They all did an amazing job. It
was funny, it was silly, it was quite sweet.
Yeah.
That is a bunch of people who are very talented at improvising musicals, and I'm really intrigued to get more of this.
Yeah.
What about you? Did you watch anything else?
I've been watching a lot of people analysing the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom video. Sort of what fan theories are about what is coming next for the Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've chatted a little bit about this. We did our own little sit down and watch through the video and chat through it and see what we thought. And obviously, there's got some theories. Maybe I'm genuinely curious if we're gonna see some sort of Twilight Realm stuff.
So the one I've been thinking about recently is whether we are getting some Skyward Sword stuff.
I mean, we've got floating islands. It makes sense. I mean,
there is a formation of floating islands on the box art that I've seen a few people go, is that Skyfall? Is that Skyfall?
Skyloft.
Is that Skyloft? Is that Skyloft from Skyward Sword? Because it sure looks like Skyloft over there, maybe.
Okay, I hadn't spotted any of that.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find the picture in a minute, but like there are people going, could this be a Skyloft? And, I mean, floating islands in the sky has precedence in...
Yeah.
And here's the thing, if we're talking about turning back time and islands going back up into the sky, they were in the sky and came down.
Yep.
So I can see how that could be connected.
Yep. That would be cute. Maybe this is it. Like, we've had references to a lot of Ocarina of Time stuff. I think there was a few other bits in there as well. So maybe this will be the moment to be like, hey, so you remember all those bits? We're adding even more bits from this. We're going to get Breath of the Wild 3, and we're going to have the Minish, and everything else. Who knows? You found it.
I'm trying to find the one that I saw people circling. It wasn't the box art. It was a different. I guess it was a different image.
So yeah, we've got the original. Does look like the tower.
It's very specifically. It looks like it's got the Skyloft Tower and then like the two chunks that were connected by bridges. Like they'd have all been
where
at
the school would be in the Knights Academy.
So they'd have all been connected sort of by bridging, but like, yeah, I could see that being Skyloft.
Oh shit.
That'd be cool to see come back.
Oh shit.
Because I'm quite a fan of Skyward Sword.
Yeah, Skyward Sword, a very good game.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed that. Yeah, I'm very ready for more Breath of the Wild. I'm very excited for it. I am excited for more people to, more trailers and more breakdowns and more theories, because I enjoy this, like, sort of community hype around the thing.
It is that exciting era around a new Zelda where it's like, you fed us, like, 15 seconds of content. Oh, time to dissect it
there
for
was
weeks.
so much going on in those.
Yeah, it's a good time to be excited for a Zelda.
Yeah, we've got swirlies, we've got weird glowing symbols, we've got carvings, all sorts going on. I'm very hype. Hype. Have you watched anything else?
Just a couple of things on YouTube, really.
Yeah.
I've been continuing to watch more stuff on the Card Market YouTube channels. In particular, I was just watching one called We Rate Your Custom MTG Cards.
Ooh.
So it's reviewing people's custom Magic the Gathering cards on how believably they could be used in Magic the Gathering and not completely break the meta. How useful would they be? How interesting is the design, the flavour, the usability? There's just some interesting content. And I've been watching some playthroughs of Danganronpa 2 because I've been craving watching human beings respond to the batshit bonkers nonsense that is the end of that game's narrative. It reaches a point where it's fucking like groundbreaking revelation after groundbreaking revelation, like 30 seconds apart sometimes, being like, oh yeah, we've completely shattered your understanding of what's going on. What if we did it again? What about again? So I've been watching some of those.
Yeah.
What about you? You watched anything else?
I think that's about it, really. It's not been a watch heavy week.
No, it
I've
hasn't.
not had the focus.
That's fair. Well then, time for this.
Hello, got any sponsor?
Who's our new sponsor?
Well, do you have not dolls?
There are dolls I don't have, I suppose?
Our sponsor this week is definitely normal, 100% normal. Don't even question it. normaldolls.lol.net.
That's a very lengthy and specific URL. That's a concerning URL. Tell me more?
They guarantee that all their dolls are just dolls. Nothing more. Wink.
I'm worried that you have to say that.
They're not secretly alive. They're not cursed. It's just normal dolls. Definitely normal.
I don't know why that makes me more concerned than if you hadn't told me they were normal and non-haunted.
They're normal. Just normal dolls. They don't move around on their own.
Most don't. Why do you have to specify that?
Because it's in the copy?
Yeah, but I mean the person who wrote the copy.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any, like, fine print on their website or the press release? Because, like...
I mean, I magnified the page and set the settings like 400%, and I couldn't see any.
Well, I mean, I
but
guess...
maybe it's an ARG, I don't know.
I guess it's just normal dolls, I guess?
Normal, definitely, 100% normal, definitely not haunted or in any way ambulatory dolls.lol.net. Enter the code Q&PS 229.
Do we get anything for the promo code?
You just pay the normal price.
The
normal dolls.
definitely normal price.
The definitely 100% normal price.
Definitely
for the
normal dolls.
Definitely 100% normal dolls. Seems all very normal and fine.
I mean, I think this might be one of those sponsors where they didn't send. Oh god, they didn't send us a demo one, did they?
Yeah, but I can't find it. I mean, I unboxed it. I probably just ADHD'd and, forgot where it was.
Okay. I love where we live, but we... Oh god, we need to burn this place down.
Inside the boardroom of Supremacy Software.
Hi. So, I'm guessing you've seen the news at this point.
I mean, there's a lot of it right now. Which bit?
So, that big open world crime game we've been working on that's still a long way from finished?
Yeah, I mean, I can whip them harder if you think that's the problem.
Well, it wasn't a problem, because we hadn't announced it yet. It was fine until, so much footage of it leaked.
Right.
In its current state, not the vertical slice.
Right, and people are hyped for it?
No, people don't understand how game development works, and they're looking at it and going, oh no, Supremacy Software's made the worst looking game they've ever made, because, all the cars are still rectangles because we haven't made the graphics yet.
Right. And the graphics aren't literally the first thing that happens in a game.
No, apparently not. I asked the boffins downstairs. Apparently that's not the very first thing that gets done. So
it's not the first thing. Oh.
No, so we have a problem, and I'm sure it's only a matter of time before legal will work out who it was that leaked this and why, what we need to work out is, what do we do when we catch him? What do we do?
Well, I mean, I could get the extra big flogging stick.
I mean, that's a good start, I think the first thing we do is we make sure that the police have, level 5-star, don't stop looking for the criminal, So, constantly there'll be a little alarm going, oh no, you're being chased by the police. That'll be annoying.
Yeah, that will be, that alarm, and we don't turn that off.
No, we don't.
So they get to the hospital, they walk out of the hospital, they're like, back to my normal life, I guess, and then just...
Yep, they leave the police station, oops, they're back on 5-star, they gotta keep running again.
What if we engage the whole tribalism thing, and we get, all of the pedestrians to beat them up, too?
Oh, yeah, wonderful. Every pedestrian out in the street...
aggressive.
Yeah, we'll just immediately turn aggressive and beat them up. I think that's a wonderful idea.
Furries, too. We'll get, a whole bunch of furries in there to beat them up too.
I think we turn on one-hit kill mode, so just one hit they're down.
Yeah. And their weapons don't work anymore. We'll turn that off.
Yeah. We'll make everything run really slow. That's gonna be really infuriating.
We'll make the helicopters run out of fuel.
Oh, that's gonna be.
So they'll get 200 feet up and then just.
When we catch them, they're gonna have a bad time.
Just the worst time. Well, we'll make it so they can't go in water.
You're fucking genius.
I know. So, ear things. What has tinkled through your ears this week?
No one's been tinkling through my ears.
What
I've put sounds in my ears.
What sounds have happened in your ear meats? What's resonated your eardrums?
Not a lot new. I did listen to a couple of new songs that I want to give a mention to.
Yes.
There was a track called Terrifier by AJJ. It's a very chaotic and maybe slightly piratey ska track. With a lot of punk chaos in its pacing. About feeling angry in a beautiful world and feeling torn between either being angry in that beauty or resisting the fact that beauty dulls your anger. It is a song about complicated feelings, and it was real interesting one that felt very tone and pace synced up well to its lyrical content. And the other one was a song called Tabs (brackets I Hope You Get the Plague) by the Small Calamities, which is an oddly beautiful little song about someone describing their very specific level of dislike of a person. I will quote a couple of lyrics here. I hope you get the plague, but you survive. I hope you suffer, but I don't want you to die. It's just a song about having complicated feelings of I don't want you not to be alive, but I do want things to really suck for you for a while.
Okay.
And like a sort of I
A little bit of
Yeah.
vengeance.
a little bit of vengeance, a little bit of
But
like
not murder.
it would make me feel good if you suffered, but I want you to have to stick around.
I want karma to happen all over you.
Yeah, it is an interesting song about like desiring catharsis emotionally. Yeah, what about you? What did you listen to?
What have I listened to? Well, I have been listening to a little bit of King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Let's see if I can find the name of the track. It's called... the album I've been listening to is called Omnium Gatherum,
Okay.
which is was released, I believe, April this year. They're having another one of their release a whole bunch of albums in the same year. And there's been a lot of like live releases on their Bandcamp. There's been a few singles, and this is another full album. Nice. I believe they're going for 4 or 5 albums this year. So not their most. I think 7 one year was the thing that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's got that sort of dreamy psychedelic rock vibe, some very rock, and some slightly more almost metal-y distorted vocal stuff. Yeah, really enjoying it, and we'll probably give it a couple more listens. Like all of their stuff, it's available on their Bandcamp. Plenty to listen to. Enjoy King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. They are fun. You listen to anything else?
No, I think that's it for me, really.
Okay. Well, the only other thing I've been really listening to is PC internal speaker recordings of the Monkey Island soundtrack. So, like, this was like my whole childhood.
Yeah.
We didn't have a joystick port.
Yep.
We didn't have a sound card because they
Yep.
were basically work machines.
Yep.
Because my mum was running a secretarial business from home.
I just about remember the era of the built-in PC speaker.
It's barely a speaker.
I mean,
it's just a bleepy bleep.
It's a bleepy bloop.
Someone described it as 1-bit sound because it can only do one thing at a time. It doesn't have any capabilities really. It doesn't have any like wavetables or any synthesis. It just, you can make the speaker do bleep and bloop, and that's about it. And there is something about just that basic bleepy, like, it's sometimes it's a bit difficult to listen to. It's a bit high in the treble section, but there is something just fundamental about my childhood of sitting in a dark room, or sitting in a dark shed, basically, at the end of the garden, playing very early PC games like Monkey Island 2, and Lord of the Rings Volume 1. Like, my first experiences of PC games, it is all listening to those soundtracks played through a speaker, resonating through a metal box. And dreaming of one day owning a sound blaster sound card so that I could hear what the music actually sounded like. And here I am, like 30 plus years later, going, I kind of miss the sounds of the crap version. But yeah, there's a good chunk of stuff available on YouTube to listen to in that genre, and that's been quite warm and fuzzy for me.
Yeah.
For a few days. Yes, for the longest time I had a tape recording of a lot of that stuff, of just like me, like DJ chatting over Monkey Island soundtrack, recorded off a PC internal speaker, using a dictaphone that was probably from the 1960s that my parents had lying around and were like, this is a toy for you now. Maybe this is why Stone Monkey Radio is called what it is. But yeah, that's about everything I listened to this week. Well then.
Time for this. Right, welcome. Thank you for coming along to this press conference that you pressured us to have. If any of the members of the press would like to explain what it is that they're so upset about, that would be a great place to start.
Alice Borg, weekly questioner.
Yes.
Why is it that you are not doing anything to ban gambling streams on Twitch?
I mean, I think that reasonable adults should be allowed to gamble if they wish, and if people want to watch them gambling, that's their choice, and that as long as gambling is only being done by adults, then, I don't see why we should have to do anything about it.
So will these channels showing this kind of content have to be age restricted?
Well, I don't think it's right to have to age restrict it. I think that, perfectly many pieces of media, have mentioned gambling in them and not cause children to gamble. So, as long as the children themselves aren't gambling, I don't think it's our responsibility.
Gareth Lane, Weekly Gaming News.
Yes?
XX Gamble Lord 42069XX did a stream yesterday that ran for 6 hours and it was just constantly rolling slots. And you think that's suitable for 13-year-olds to be watching?
Oh, well, we think that anyone who has children should be paying attention to what their children are consuming, and it's not our job as a platform to be policing what can or can't be produced as content. And if children are consuming content, then the parents should be responsible for paying attention to what they're watching. And at this time, we will not be do not think that streamer has done anything that needs to be actioned.
Just one more
Ding.
question then, if I might ask.
Ding.
The dinging noise in your pocket
Ding.
that's been going off this whole time. Could you confirm exactly what that is?
Well, I can tell you what it's not. It's definitely not notifications for bank transfers from any particular gambling streamer you might have mentioned. I'll tell you that.
Many further questions.
I will not be answering any of them. I will be going and checking my phone for definitely not $50,000 I've just been sent. Anyway, bye.
Madam President, there's I need to make you aware of a Condition Black situation.
Oh, goodness, is it? Don't tell me it's terrorists.
Worse.
Nuclear weapons?
Worse.
Bioweapons?
Much worse.
White supremacists?
Mildly worse.
Well, then what is it then?
We've been running this project to harness the power of autonomous, possibly haunted mannequins.
We've been doing what?
We thought it would scare the enemy so they'd surrender much more quickly.
Okay, and what now?
Well, the report says they were lying there 1 minute and then the lights flickered and they all just vanished, and now they're sort of showing up all over the city.
I wanted my presidency to be remembered for something. I really didn't want to be the haunted mannequin president.
I mean, they might not be haunted. Sometimes they move.
Oh, God, it's gonna be a long night with the lights on.
I've made Secret Service members aware that the backup emergency power supply needs to be left running so that there's no break in there.
Forever.
Forever. I'll get
Forever.
No, forever. Yes, forever. I'll get the thank you. Do you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Social Justice Warriors.
Social Justice Warriors.
Yeah.
All right, Larry.
All right, Barry, how you doing?
Yeah, not so bad, mate. Not so bad. You been up to much?
Not much. Yourself?
Oh, just kind of been trying to rest actually a bit, mate.
Yeah.
Not being my best, but getting on.
Well, it's important. It's important to rest up,
Yeah, I know. You doing all right?
I'm all right. Just watching the internet be the internet as it do.
Oh yeah. It's harrowing. Isn't it?
I know. I really should stop looking, but the urge to be aware of what's happening in the world.
Yeah. Oh, I hear that.
Yeah, well, the one I've seen doing the rounds recently is some pretty. How do I even get into this one? So a lot of the British police have been doing a lot of bullshit fascisty things recently, as they all want to do.
Police, the government.
Yeah. So I've been seeing a lot of British people doing that thing that the British people love to do, which is to see fascism and bullshittery happen in Britain, very British fascism, then be like, it's the police here are being like the police in China, the police in Russia.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
happening here?
The whole Welcome to Red Square thing is like,
Yeah.
it's happening here. This is a British problem that is happening Britishly.
It's one of those things where it's like, it feels like a certain degree of it is either racism or attempts to distance yourself from the problem and be like, oh, this doesn't happen here. It's sort of like trying to imply that it happening in Britain is an outlier rather than the standard. But it's avoiding acknowledging the fact that, like, no, it's not like a thing happening in other countries. It's like the thing happening in Britain. It is British fucking fascism.
It kind of rings to that same. This is what life under socialism would be like when they're showing pictures of, rundown housing estates in the UK or things like that. It's like, no, I mean, there's literally capitalism happening right before you. And I think it speaks something to that whole, British exceptionalism thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you get it certainly in America as well. Just this idea of, we're far too civilised for that sort of thing to happen here.
Exactly, while ignoring the fact that the thing is happening here under your country and
is
your
in
current.
fact quite homegrown.
Indeed, it's happening here where you are, and it's happening under your current system of economics that you are, trying to suggest is the solution to the problem that is happening on your own home turf, and you're kind of ignoring.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gross, is what it is.
I mean, there's not really a better way to put it, is there?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose there's some xenophobia in there. There's exceptionalism. It's just a whole mishmash of ick from various different sections of just like, we're far too civilised for this sort of thing to happen, and no, you're not. It's happening right here. It's happening right under your nose. Fucking do something about it.
Yeah.
Join us.
Yeah.
We are also hoping to get some shit done. But it's
tiring.
It's infuriating and tiring, and top of everything else, fucking statey fumes.
Oh, statey fumes.
Drives me berserk.
Oh.
Do you fancy a hug?
Oh yeah.
Good hug, mate. Good hug.
Good hug.
Right, I think we'll go put the kettle on.
Sounds like a plan.
Nice. So, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about book, or do you just want to talk about general lore stuff?
I mean, general lore stuff's easy to do. That's Laura K. Buzz pretty much everywhere. Just search Laura K. Buzz, you'll find all the things they do.
All the places.
Yeah, Laura K. Buzz.
Twitter, Switch, YouTube.
Yeah, TikTok, Patreon, all the LauraKBuzz.com, all the places.
Oh, unified branding.
Yeah.
Sexy.
You know what's not part of the unified branding, though? That book what we done together.
The book with what we done together called Who Hunts the Whale?
Yeah, tell us about that.
Why, that's a silly and serious satire book about the video game industry. And every now and again we read the news and go, that's prescient. That's prescient. No one's going to believe we wrote the book before that happened. Yeah. So there's all that stuff. Yeah. It's a fun little book. You can get it at unbound.com/book/whale. It's coming out in February 16th next year. So not long now. You can pre-order it. You can get all kinds of swag, but you cannot get your name in the book anymore. But you can get all the cool stuff. You can get signed copies. You can still get bundle copies of signed all of your books that have been produced through Unbound. That's a very exciting one that I'm very excited to hear. Yeah. Also, you did a book called Me and My Dysphoria Monster, which is very lovely and very cute and very good and very
it's
pretty.
out now. It's an illustrated children's book. Go check it out. It's out now.
Yeah.
What else do you do? What's your
My branding
where's
is
your stuff?
Linktree, because I couldn't get unified branding. Linktree.ee/Janiac, JANEIAC. You can find links to cool t-shirts that I've designed and all sorts of other stuff. Music under the name Bedroom Programmer. You can listen to this podcast and other podcasts and possibly another podcast coming soon because I don't need sleep or rest except when I work myself to the point where literally bits of me snap. Stoned Monkey Radio on Patreon, patreon.com/Stoned Monkey Radio. For as little as $1 a month, you can become one of 27 lovely people. Join me. Help me get to 30 Patreons. Help me pay my bills, which are going to go up, only ever up. Please help, please help, please help. Save us. We the British Isles, request your help. I think that's everything, Laura. Will you sing us out, please, darling?
Until next time, be a stranger.